Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warship Blitz for another how-to video. This is a how-to on the Shoal map. So the Shoal map is always a base capture map, so it has a base on our side, a base on the enemy side, and the idea is to the apparent idea is to capture the other team's base. However, usually it ends up being a competition to see who can destroy the most ships and keep the most ships on their own team. So this map has a number of complexities. It has, the distance between the two, there's a bit of jockeying for position in the middle often. The key thing with this map is really to make sure that the team doesn't get too separated and picked apart. So if a battleship runs off on its own round the edges, that's usually a very bad sign. Here our destroyers are screening out in front of the ships, and we're close enough behind that we can support them. And that, for a cruiser, you don't want to be too far in advance, because otherwise what happens is you get hammered by battleships. But you don't want your destroyers to be picked off either. So here we are, and we're providing support into that destroyer, into our destroyers. So the other thing is you can see off to the side there a flanking maneuver by a destroyer. So be aware that sometimes the team does clump up and support each other, which is really great, and push the enemy team, and do so in a way that allows a destroyer to go around the outside of the map and capture the base. So here, bearing in mind that we've got a couple of battleships and they're pretty suboptimal at dealing with destroyers, and bearing in mind that our destroyer screen seems to have up ahead under some sort of control, my job is to basically deal with this guy. But actually what's actually happening here is we have a number of friendly ships coming in on the ride, which is, well, you know, at the time I thought a bit of a concern, because we don't want to abandon our thrust up the centre. Hopefully our destroyer to the south there is making good an escape, because we've just lost our first teammate. These flanking destroyers can become a problem, especially if your ships get distracted and run off after them. So I have to kill them quite quickly to make sure that we don't get overly distracted. Fortunately, I'm in the Leander, and it's a fairly good ship for dealing with them. But I want to deal with them quickly, so let's just see how that does. Yep, he's gone and turned back into it. So I've headed a bit far south to get out of support. I turned my guns round, but you can see that our battleship cruiser flotilla is still fairly intact. So our destroyer has made good his escape. It's 2 destroyers gone on our side for 2 destroyers gone on their side, and I'm heading back into the main clump so that we can support them as we push back up into their main cap. Now the reason that you want to stick together in this map is that you want to focus fire down the enemy, which is what our team has been doing. You can see the DeGrasse has taken a lot of hits, but the DeGrasse is a good long range fighter, and as long as he doesn't extend over the battleships, even with that health, as long as he's reasonably careful, he should be okay. Our battleships are on good health, so obviously our DeGrasse has been taking the majority of the fire, and if he's been nimble, probably the enemy has been expending a lot of shots that those battleships haven't had to put up with, although they're starting to take a bit of a hammering now. This Leander, so my guns are facing out the wrong side, so basically I want to start getting back in the game. Oh, we have Congo there, so we fire at the Congo, a couple of shots go in, and 3 hit, and for destruction. It must be a timing thing there, because I can't imagine my armoured piercing did that much damage. And that Leander's gone. Our destroyer has taken him while he's probably been distracted looking over here. And that's the other reason to clump up, is that it allows for the enemies can get quite focused and quite distracted. But here we are, by supporting each other, you can see how the damage is spread across our ships. Although, because I had that southward run, I'm pretty clear for damage. But the de Grasse to New Mexico, the Fuso's relatively lightly damaged, so overall we have obviously done better from the shooting department against the opponents. But yeah, so as you can see, that New Mexico's in a little bit of strife. Yep, he's gone. 37 seconds remain, and basically it's just farming damage. But because that Farragut has fired his torpedoes in the last 40 seconds, he's unlikely to be able to get anything against that final de Grasse, although that battleship remains a concern, but still it's 4 on 2. Yeah, so with this map, the key thing is work out where your friendly ships are going, and see if you can... Yeah, he's gone. And see if you can make sure that you don't get too separated, and pushes the team. And sitting around the cap is not really a good idea, because it lets the enemy determine how they approach you. So you want to at least, yeah, not be too clumped up, especially if you've got destroyers around who can fire into a clump group of ships, you know. But if you're pressing forward, then yeah, you've got some movement, so you've got some ability to manoeuvre. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for when you play the Shoal. As you can see, it was a fairly ordinary game for that Leander, but I played my role of keeping the destroyers from gathering the cap, because if we'd pressed forward and ignored him, that cap would have definitely been gone. Thanks for watching. See you next time.